Hi class, Dr. Locke here again. Looking at creating some cams here with you. On this tutorial we're going to be looking at a Pear CAM. So if your group is working on a Pear CAM, this is the Pear CAM dimension drawing that you want to look at, and we're going to take this and create this in Inventor. So follow closely. I think what we'll look at is probably using the diameter of 1 inch, and so where you see D up here, that will be, we're taking the dimension of 1 inch. We'll start with a new standard part. We will create this sketch in the front view, XY plane. We'll be using the origin here to start with the center of the circle. We'll create a circle. And I'm going to do something a little bit different. Normally this would be creating a dimension of 1 inch in diameter, but I'm going to right click right now. And I'm going to look at the type of dimension here, coordinate type actually, or what am I looking at? General dimension, radius. That's what I'm looking for. So if you look down here, you can switch it back and forth to dimension either a radius or a diameter. And I'm going to be choosing radius because the capital R that you saw on that sheet is the radius. So we're looking at now the radius tool. So you have to right click and change this from diameter, which is what it is originally, to radius. And we're going to make that, if it's going to be a 1 inch diameter, we need to make that 0.5. 0.5 is the radius. That will be our first dimension that we're going to be looking at on here. Now, about halfway up here, somewhere about up here on this line, the y-axis, I'm going to create another circle. This time we are going to change it again to, oh, it's already in radius, so I don't need to change it. We are going to use a fourth, and now when it's a fourth of the diameter, that's really half of the previous radius. So I'm going to type in 0.5. Make sure I'm in the selection box here, 0.5. The times is hitting Shift 8, or if you're using your number pad, it is the asterisk above the number 9. And then I'm going to come down here and select this. Why did you select the dimension? Try it again. So I'm going to do 0.5 times, I'm going to type in D0. That's the first dimension that we just created right here. This is D0 right here. D0. Usually you can select that, but for some reason it's not letting me do it. Alright, so we are going to do that. Now, this is, if you look at the sheet that is in front of you, R equals half the diameter. So this radius is going to be half of 1 inch, which is 0.5. The R on this one is going to be equal to 1/4 of the diameter, or half of the radius, so that's D0. And then we are going to make the distance, so we're going to dimension the distance from this center to this center to be half of the diameter, which would be equal to this number right here. So we're going to edit this, and we're going to select this one right here. So I'm going to make it equal to D0. Now you'll notice that they cross over. That's fine. What we're going to do is make sure that the center here and there, okay, good. And now we're going to create two lines that are going to touch at, I'm going to make it on, I'm going to just make sure it goes onto this circle. It's like snapping right there, so I'm going to try and create it somewhere on that edge. If it snaps to it, that's fine. I think we're going to be changing that in a moment. And somewhere on this edge. So I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. And zoom in a little bit here. Make sure it's on the circle. And I'm going to use a tool now called the tangent tool. So we're going to tangent constraint. And we're going to click the line and this circle. Already exists, that's fine, that means it's tangent. and we're going to click the line in this circle. And if it pops to it, that means it wasn't tangent before, and that's exactly what we want. Do that over here, and that makes that tangent. I'll click the line and this circle, and be careful, just carefully select the line and then select the circle, select the line and select the circle, select the line and select the circle. And you might need to do that all 4 times, except for that first one, which was already done for us. But if you have 4 of those tangent symbols up, that's fantastic. That's exactly what we want. And then I'm going to hit escape, get out of that tool. Now I've got a lot of stuff on the inside that I don't need. I want to see if I can trim it. So I'm going to go ahead and use the trim tool. See if I can trim this, and this, and that curve, and that curve, that curve, and that curve. So that's using the trim tool. I think we talked about that in one of the earlier units. And so we want to have this overall shape. It's looking a lot more like the picture that's in front of me right now. The last thing we're going to draw is we are going to create a circle. And we're going to create a circle that is 3/16. I'm just going to type in 3 divided by 16. Hit enter. That doesn't look right. Oh, because we're still in the radius tool. That's why. So I'm going to delete that. The circle is, we're going to use diameter on this one. We're going to type in 3/16. If you're using the radius tool needs to be, well, you'd have to use 3/32. So if you're in that radius tool and you're doing that diameter, but I change this back to diameter. How you do that on a circle is just right click, and you can switch back and forth between radius and diameter on that toolbar just by right clicking. Okay? Now, try it. You can stop the video, make sure you have all these dimensions correct, and make sure this is tangent. Go back and look at those again before you finish it, and extrude this. And the way I'm going to extrude this, I'm going to do a special type of extrusion called a symmetrical extrusion. That's the third one over here. And it looks like we are going to 3/16 thickness. And you are done. That's what it should look like.